Michael Patrick Joyce was born in Marin County, north of San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge.
He came into the world weighing 9 pounds, 13.5 ounces, which was the start of his very big life.
Michael was the youngest of 3 children. His sister, Kristen, is 7 years older than Michael.
And he has a brother, Kevin, who's 4 years older than he is. During Michael's grammar school years, we actually moved a lot. He started out in California, and when he was in first grade, we moved to Norway.
And Michael went to the international school there in Stavanger. The next year, we got transferred to London, England.
In elementary school, he was not a star student. He really did have a lot of struggles with learning. I finally took him to a place that discovered he had something called scotopic sensitivity syndrome, which means the light reflects off the page in a funny way, and he was given some blue filters that he put on his books, and suddenly all the words were calm and things really improved.
Michael was always a big child. When he was 2 years old, people would look at him and think he was a 4-year-old, and he would talk like a 2-year-old, and people thought he was developmentally challenged.
Normally you see big people like that and you think, oh my gosh, here comes trouble. But not Michael. He was always nice. He was never threatening, helpful, and funny. And he just kept growing.
He ended up being 6'8".
I remember one time asking his doctor, well, how big do you think Michael will be? And he looked at me and he said, you don't want to know. He's just gonna be big. When Michael was in 3rd grade and we were living in London, he was playing baseball.
He drilled a line drive which hit the chest of the pitcher.
And so whenever Michael came up, they would have to have the father pitch to Michael. When Michael was in middle school, he actually tried out for the football team and got on the football team.
He was not a receiver, not a running back, but he was part of the line, and probably 2 parts of it. He was so big. And then he got into high school and he continued on with basketball, not baseball or football.
After playing 4 years of basketball at Kingwood High School, Michael went off to Columbus State University on a partial basketball scholarship.
He played 1 year there and decided that he'd had enough of basketball coaches yelling at him and decided to hang it up. But I think at Columbus College, he coached a sorority basketball team. So he kept his interest in basketball and also girls.
After 2 years at Columbus State University, Michael transferred up to the University of Georgia in Athens. Michael had 2 jobs when he was in college. The first one was working at Canucans. It's a sports store. And he worked on the bikes in the back. He would repair bikes and get them running again. And he also, he just loved the fact that it was associated with the outdoors. The other job that he loved was up in Athens, working at a bar. And first he started out as a bouncer, of course, because of his height. He met a lot of people that way, though, checking their IDs. Then he became a bartender there, and he loved making all these drinks and really putting together the music for the bar. That was what he loved to do. He would make a CD and try and set the mood for the bar. When Michael was at Columbus, he had a column where he reviewed the movies and rated the movies, gave a synopsis of them, and in a few succinct words told you whether or not you should go see the movie or not. His major in college was going to be public relations. I think that was grounded in the fact that Michael just loved being with people. He had a way with people and about making people feel really good about themselves. All these years, I was the cook in the family, and then suddenly one day, it turned out to be Michael was the cook in the family. He just kind of picked it up on television, and suddenly he's in the kitchen, and I'm his sous chef. He's making all these wonderful dinners, and I go, wait a minute, how did he learn all this stuff? When he took on something, he really took it on. He was a fanatic about cooking. He loved it, and you always knew you were going to get a good meal.
He loved life, and he loved music.
Michael started taking guitar lessons when he was in 5th grade. He just loved guitar.
Could hear a song and play it by ear.
I don't know what it is about Michael, but he had a sense of humor right from the get-go, and he could always make people smile.
He constantly would tell you something that was shocking and tragic and just awful, and then he'd go, no, I'm just joking. He would do that all the time, just setting us up. When his brother Kevin told us that Kevin was becoming a vegetarian, Michael said, so can I have your leather jacket? Michael came home from UGA in December of 1999 for Christmas vacation. And he wasn't feeling well, so Bev took him to the doctor the next day, found out he had pneumonia, and they took some blood samples. And the next day, 2 days after he got home, he was admitted to MD Anderson Cancer Hospital in Houston with leukemia. A couple days later, they diagnosed it as acute myelogenous leukemia, AML. The doctor said that if you wished for leukemia, that was the type you wished for. Well, that was good news, but the doctor did not say that it was a 100% cure rate. He underwent 2 regimens of chemo. Both times the leukemia went into remission, and both times he relapsed. The second time it relapsed, he was back at UGA trying to finish his last semester. And when he was back, then he underwent a bone marrow transplant, which was from an unrelated donor. Kristen and Kevin were perfect matches, but for each other and not for Michael. So the bone marrow didn't take, and they told us that Michael was going to die. Michael told Bev about the funeral arrangements that he wanted. He wanted 3 songs played at the memorial service. One of them, which was his favorite song, Billy Bragg and Wilco and California Stars. He also wanted to be cremated, and he wanted his ashes spread in the Marin Headlands. The date of his death was July 26, 2001. He was a big-hearted, friendly, fun-loving, gentle soul.
We always called him the gentle giant. He was always on your side. He could always make you laugh. And he was just wonderful to be around.
His height, 6'8", could scare the bejesus out of somebody, but his cousins and his brother and sister all said that that was just the way he appeared, but he was kind, fun-loving, empathetic, a gentle soul, a gentle giant. Oh